to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 257 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. You guys know I normally go into like a little spiel on everything, but there's just so much to do tonight. So I am just going to get right into the read and get rolling with things. Everybody, go roast the competition. Be the first to the finish line with 5 Lakes Angry Brew. Angry Brew is a massively caffeinated, amazing tasting, high octane, power packed fuel that will get you through the day, all day, every day. I need it. Let me tell you, like, I have been so busy. I have needed some Angry Brew. When you need a power up, reach for Angry Brew coffee with a punch. Use code LAPPED, LAPPED at checkout. Get 10% off your order. All right, business is done. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line, making his 10th appearance on the show, 7th for the J-Ski shows. Welcome back, Dustin Albino. Dustin, what's up, man? How are you?
Is that a milestone or something? Number 10?
Well, so number 10 is kind of a milestone. There's not many people that have hit that milestone. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see who's made it through 10. We've got, let's see. Let me hit the guest list here. The PETM podcast has been on 20 times. The Orange Cone, 18. Jeff Striegel, 18, Rick Brenner, 11, and you are solely at number 10. So
look at that.
Yeah. Tyler Riddick is behind you with 9, Cole Custer with 7, NASCAR Chasm with 7, Matt Tift with 6. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty
Sounds
good.
like I'm in some good company there.
You are in some good company. So yeah, I've challenged the Orange Cone and Jeff Striegel, who are both at 18. That number 20 needs to be in person. So maybe, when we get to 20, maybe we can do it at a track or something. And
they're coming to the studio.
Yes. We'll get J-Ski to fly you out here. We'll find some reason for it.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm doing great. We haven't done this in a couple months, so I'm ready to talk some racing. A lot's happened. The Olympics have happened, so we had the break. But yeah, we're setting up in the postseason. The Cup season, the truck postseason's underway, and Xfinity the postseason's about to begin.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, man. It's nuts. It's crazy. We were talking before we got started. The last time on was July 6th, and here we are midway through September, man.
So July 6th would have been right after Road America. So yeah, lots happened since then in the world of NASCAR.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. All right. Well, let's start with this, man. Everybody knows that we're some diehard wrestling fans. And,
we are.
And some stuff has gone down over at AEW, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him, all over at AEW, man. What did you think with CM Punk?
Don't forget about Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, Adam Cole, baby. Yes. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. So at heart, and I feel like you might be the same way. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I'll always be like a WWE first kind of guy. Only because they've been around my entire life. And until 2 years ago, there was no competition. And now, even until I would say earlier this year, really, there was no competition. But now there's some competition. So with AEW getting CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, they're making a huge splash. And it's fun to watch. I mean, it's one of the best shows of the 4, I think, every week. I think SmackDown's probably the best, most consistent every week. But I would throw AEW right in there, right in. To get, those 3 names on top of everybody else that they got, Jericho, Moxley. I mean, it's a stacked lineup, and they got the best men's roster right now of all brands. So I'm going to an AEW show here in a couple weeks in Rochester, so I'm super excited.
That's awesome. So I am 100% with you. WWE loyalists, like even back during, the original Monday Night Wars, I watched Monday Night Raw and I'd read the dirt sheets about what was going on WCW. Like, I felt like I was cheating on WWE if I would have watched WCW. And, I'd going through, it's like, all right, I picked the right winner, like, cause I stayed with WWE. Right. And now I'm at this turning point where, a lot of fans don't even know what the Monday Night Wars were unless they, watch documentaries on it or, whatever. And looking back, it's like, man, AEW's great. Like, they've got great talent. They've got the right mindset on giving you wrestling and entertainment, not just the entertainment side of things. But it's like they're doing the same thing WCW did, and that was just re-sign all of the people that WWE released. And it's like, are we going to have another 2 to 5 year run of competition? And what's going to happen? Like, so that's exciting to have that debate and to see what's going on. I was a diehard CM Punk fan. I loved what he did. I loved what he brought. I loved his interviews are great. Like, he's able to bring it, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Like, I wasn't watching AEW beforehand. I watched that episode. And I've caught a couple. Like, I'm bought in. I'll be honest. I never bought into the Daniel Bryan hype, to be honest with you. Like, that
Really?
WrestleMania run was cool. But I just something for it. I just never really got behind him all that much. I'm going to be really curious if they bring in Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, in some capacity.
Yeah, you hit on a lot there, but I think AEW does have longevity. I think we'll see it last more than 3 to 5 years on like TNT with WCW. I think it has longevity, and CM Punk, like like you said, he's always kind of been a rebel. So, and I think that's that suits his style. AEW is right up his alley, and
yes.
I think there is no way he was gonna. I think the better story would come back to WWE, but there's no way I could see it happening. Although it seems like they, Fox. You mentioned the dirt sheets. I still read the dirt sheets. It sounds like Fox tried to push to get CM Punk, after his deal with Fox a couple of years ago. So on WWE Backstage, I was bummed to see Adam Cole leave. I'll be honest, and I get that a lot of his close friends are management at AEW, like the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, etc. But he's not even in his prime yet.
No,
he's
not.
So good.
No,
he's so good.
I hope they just keep the right mix. I think one of the things that faulted there were a lot of things that faulted WCW, but I think one thing that they ended up starting to do was they recycled all of their old stuff, and they recycled feuds that were already done in WWE at the time. They gave us Macho Man and Hogan how many times in WCW. They started to give us, Ric Flair and Sting over, AEW has the ability to keep it fresh with not doing that, not recycling those feuds. And so as long as they give us, Chris Jericho and, not Daniel Bryan, okay, cool. Then it can stay fresh and relevant. If they give us CM Punk versus whomever, Kenny Omega, great. That stuff we haven't seen. And that's what I think will help keep them relevant.
And I think you're right on that. And I think, like I said, the men's roster specifically, the women's roster, Britt Baker's a star, but besides that, they haven't really made anybody yet. I would argue, from the AEW standpoint. But on the men's side, there's, a multitude of talent. There's so many dream matchups that you could have.
Yes.
But I do worry that, some of the stuff, for instance, like CM Punk right now, last week, as we're recording this, he started a rivalry with Taz's group, and that's been they've been meshing and going at it for months now, and it's just gone nowhere. So I kind of worry about that for CM Punk, but I'm excited. It looks like Omega Bryan, that's the dream match, is going to be the next title, the match for the title. So I don't know. There's a lot of dream matches that could come out of AEW, and unfortunately, WWE put themselves in this place to a degree, not with Adam Cole and Bryan per se, but they've released so many good talent over the last 18 months, and I think it's going to come bite them in the ass.
I don't see how it can't. How many times are you going to give us, Edge and Randy Orton? How many times are you going to give us, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? Now, granted,
although that's fresh, and I never thought it could be.
It's fresh because Brock's reinvented himself. I love what they did with Paul Heyman on Friday night with making it look like he knew. Like that was good. That was good.
From start to finish, that might have been the best show, TV show of SmackDown in years. I mean, that was so good. Good.
Absolutely. I am with you there for sure. All right. There's the wrestling stuff. I'm excited. We
should start a wrestling podcast.
That would be amazing. Baseball, man, winding up regular season here in a couple weeks. Tigers did better than expected, but no surprises since we last talked. I mean, Miguel Cabrera got his 500th home run. That's about it. It's painful over here, man. It is. Yankees went on a 12-13 game winning streak, and then since then they're like 4-10 or something. They've fallen off a cliff here recently. So they went from being out of the playoffs to 5 games of the good, and now they're tied for the second wild card. So. Yeah, I mean, I think evidently, they got 18 games left. I think they'll get in, but they ain't catching the Rays, so it'll be a wild card. Yeah, no, I feel you there. College football, man, some cool things on my front as a Big Ten Michigan fan. 2-0, looked really good. Run game's good, all that. How's your college football front?
Yeah, Syracuse, so it's never good.
Basketball's right around the corner.
I got season tickets, so I'm excited for that. Football, I mean, we lost to Rutgers over the weekend. Rutgers has been terrible for like a decade now, but so is Syracuse outside of 2018. So, yeah, we probably shouldn't talk college football.
Well, and then there's always the Lions that do Lions things. They get down 38 to 3.5 and come back to within, a touchdown with a last minute drive. Don't pull it off.
Who'd they play? Because I was totally out of the loop on Sunday.
San Francisco.
Got it. Yeah, I was traveling back from Richmond, so I was totally out of the loop.
Oh, that's right. Yes. All right. Well, let's roll into that.
Good transition.
Yeah. Boom. It's like what's going on. How we'll get into the actual racing and all of that, but how was the trip itself?
Yeah, the trip itself, I mean, this is, I think, my 7th time to Richmond, and the facility's upgraded so much, even just in the last few years. And they totally redid the infield in 2018, I think 2019. And what they did was they pretty much they only have the Cup Garage now. So it kind of makes it really difficult for the Xfinity Series, like this past Saturday when there's a doubleheader, because they got to get all the Xfinity Series cars out of the track, bring all the haulers into the track that were out of the track, because I mean Richmond's only 3/4 of a mile, so logistically it doesn't. The doubleheader didn't make sense, but I tell you what, Saturday was a long day. I got to the track I think at 9ish, maybe a little before 9, and I didn't leave till after 1.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
it was a long one.
I went to Richmond for the playoff race back in 2019, and it was a beautiful track. Had that old school feel to it still. But yeah, they redid a lot of cool stuff in the garage with like that. The walkway for the fans, to be able to get into the garage without garage access, if you will. Like
that was brand new. I think that might have been the first race with it, or maybe it was the spring race. That would probably make sense. So it was the spring of 2019, but obviously they didn't get to use it last year. And, they didn't get to use it in the spring either because fans weren't allowed in the garage. So it was good to see fans. And there was a lot of fans at the track. Oh, my God. The Xfinity race was huge turnout. And obviously the doubleheader helped with that, having the Cup race.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
And then the pre-race stuff was excellent with 9/11 remembrance.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was just a good, I guess, day at the track. I went to the track on Friday for the modified race. As like a spectator, I sat in the grandstand with a friend. So that, as always, the modifieds put on a hell of a show, no matter where they are. And Ryan Priest got the win there. So it was great weekend at the track, and I'm super excited to get to Charlotte here in about a month, a little under a month.
Excellent. All right, well, we're 15 minutes in, and Scott would probably be mad we haven't talked about J-Ski yet. So what's going on over there, man?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the grind of the year. We're having the schedule come out tomorrow as we record this. The LA announcement's coming out tonight. So a lot of stuff's happening. We're about to get busy. Silly season. I mean, there's a couple Xfinity news today with Sheldon Creed and Justin Allgaier. I guess Allgaier returning, Creed moving up from trucks to Xfinity next year. So we're getting in the grind silly season. I feel like it's about to really pick up, even though, there's been a lot of announcements since the last time we spoke, including Keselowski, even though that was the worst kept secret in the garage.
Right.
And the Kurt Busch, that was the second worst kept secret in the garage. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good content coming up. We got Josh Williams' article coming out tomorrow. It's a good week for that because he's actually on the Dale Jr. download this week too. And after the race on Saturday, he came up to Dale Jr. after Dale Jr.'s media obligations were done. And they just had a moment because they raced the hell out of each other for 19th place for like 20 laps in the opening run in Saturday's race. It was really good racing. And I think Josh Williams, I mean, he's got to take advantage of every opportunity he gets because Dale Jr. is going to be on TV. So you might as well race the guy hard.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to be on TV. That's exactly what he did.
I love it.
So yeah, we got that piece coming out. I have a Noah Gragson piece I'm working on, kind of a playoff preview. That'll be coming out next week. So, we got a lot of stuff in the works at J-Ski, and I can't believe it's been almost a year that I've been there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's something else we were talking about before we got started here, was just that you're coming up on, one full season in the books over there, which is really cool. I'm excited and happy that that's worked out for you, and that able to make that next step in your career and
I appreciate that.
Be with a great place like J-Ski. I know they've been big supporters of the show, which is great. I'm glad we were able to do this. Maybe not as many times as we thought we were going to get to, but
life.
Hey, life. Yes, season's not over and all that, but no, man, I'm so excited and happy for you with that's all worked out for you.
It's cool because like when I went to J-Ski, I wanted to make sure I could still do original content and that I could still go to the track because honestly, they hadn't covered a race in like 8 or 10 years before I got here. And so they were kind of like hidden faces, like nobody knew who they were. And yet they're still one of the most popular sites out there that covers NASCAR. Everyone as kids, I feel like you and I went to that site to get all of our news.
You got it.
And so, yeah, it's cool when you have drivers or people in the sport come up to you and be like, oh, it's cool to see J-Ski at the track. So, it's
I'm
cool,
telling
cool thing.
you, we've got to get Scott. You guys got to get a T-shirt out. You guys would make a killing off a J-Ski T-shirt, man. You got to get a J-Ski shirt out there, man. I'll help with that, man. I'll help.
I like your line of thinking.
Yes. All right. Well, there's your 18-minute intro, which is a little longer than my normal 5 to 6. But Dustin and I, Dustin and I, we're going to get into all of the racing from this past weekend. Have some fun with a little silly season stuff as well, and then we'll let Dustin get on his way, and we got Aaron Studwell later in the show with a little Michigan football breakdown, as well as the weather for this weekend at Bristol. I've got your lucky dog and lap down picks, and of course some lap traffic fantasy to close this thing out. So without further ado, Dustin, you ready to kick this thing off? Let's talk a little racing this past weekend. Like you mentioned, we had the doubleheader on Saturday. We had the Xfinity guys early in the afternoon. Noah Gragson picking up back-to-back wins. Is Noah like just the new Tony Stewart, where he's just hitting on all cylinders here late in the regular season for them?
Yeah, so like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I have a story coming out pretty much about this, even though it was planned before Noah's hot streak. Regardless, one way or the other, it was coming out as a playoff preview. So yeah, good timing on his part to make me look good. But yeah, but Noah, I mean, Noah's a guy that the highs are high and the lows are really low. And no matter if it's his confidence, momentum, whatever it is. And 6 of the first 13 races this year, he DNF'd in for whatever reason. There's a few crashes, a few parts failures. Phoenix, for instance, I know the team was frustrated. Dave Ellens was telling me today, the crew chief, that they went there and they were going to try something. And then a few laps in, they blew an engine. So you can't try anything when you're in the garage.
Right.
So yeah, I think, the talent's there. I think everyone saw Noah's talent and then maybe questioned it a little bit when he didn't have all the success at KBM as maybe his teammates like Christopher Bell or when Kyle was in there. And even if you compare him to like John Hunter Nemechek this year, like John Hunter Nemechek's won 5 races this year, 5 or 6 in KBM equipment. So I think this is big for Noah that he's gotten 2 victories. And had it not been for Kansas last year, he would have been in the championship race. He had 6 top 3 finishes last year. The only one was Kansas, and he just barely missed it on points. And then ultimately, you know, as everyone can recall, the Texas deal where he was leading on the final lap, and Harrison Burton made up like a half second and passed him clean. So yeah, I think Noah's deemed poised for a long run in the playoffs. I'd fully expect him. And I even said this, you know, we broke it down earlier in the year. He was one of my picks to go to the Final Four, and I still fully believe that.
Absolutely. You know, when we're talking about guys that are hitting on all cylinders and like we were just waiting for it to happen, you know, we got to bring up Daniel Hamrick because, you know, it feels like, you know, back in July when we did it, back in May when we did a show, like when's it coming? Because we just feel like it's coming. Here we are on the verge of just one more race to go in the regular season, you know, and they're up there. They're 4th in points, you know, not too many playoff points and still looking for that first win. You know, do we still talk about them getting that first win this year?
It's an interesting case study because if you look at JGR this year, the 54 cars won a lot, right? And nobody else has won at all. So Brandon Jones he's had a bad year statistically, but I think overall the performance has been okay. He's got 8 top 5s, but then he has 10 finishes of 33rd or worse. So, I mean, it's not good on paper.
Right.
And you look at Daniel Hamrick and, you know, at the beginning of the year, he was firing off top 5 after top 5 and, you know, was second in points for a lot of the year. And then, you know, since, I don't know, June, May, it's kind of been just so-so. He probably should have won Atlanta. Which that would have been the race at the first race after our last taping, and Kyle Busch moved him out of the way. You know, not on purpose, accidental for sure, but since then he's only had 3 top 10 finishes and a DNF, a couple finishes of 30th or worse. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him just pop up and get a win. Nor Brandon Jones, same thing with Harrison Burton, but I'm not riding the JGR bandwagon going to the playoffs. I think they'll be lucky's not the right word, but they should be content. Content's not the right word either. If they get one car into the Final Four, I think it's a good year.
Sure.
It's not a good year though, right? It's right. I guess I'm struggling to come up with the words, but it's for how they've done this year. I think they'll be lucky to get one car in the Final Four.
Well, you know, I think we all expected Austin Cindric to do what Austin Cindric's gone out and done. I think we expected Kaulig Racing to do what they were going to do. Maybe a little bit more of a split between AJ Allmendinger and Justin Haley. You know, I think Dinger's just, you know, come out guns a-blazing. And, you know, I'm not surprised, but I'm kind of surprised on the same token as far as the races that he's won, the dominance that he's gone out and won them, and the year they've had. I mean, you know, 2 less wins than Austin Cindric, less playoff points, but, you know, a few more from a regular standings perspective. He's in first. I was not expecting AJ Allmendinger to be sitting first in the points, 1 race to go in the regular season.
And this is a good battle too, because we're going to Bristol, where I would probably favor Allmendinger because of his experience. They both obviously have a great road course background, which could probably translate to Bristol. It translates to most road courses. And it's a 5-point battle. And this has been, you know, if Austin Cindric didn't have 2 bad races in a row at Michigan and Daytona, this wouldn't be a battle at all. However, there was a 99-point swing in those 2 races. That's huge.
That's
when he can only gain 120 points in those 2 races. That's unbelievable. You don't see that with the 2 top guys. So for Allmendinger, like, I expected him to run well. I thought he'd probably get to the Final Four this year. Or at least contend for the Final Four, because last year, you know, Kaulig got a car into the Final Four, but if you look at it realistically, Justin Haley is probably the 4th car that most people would say could win that championship. That's not the case this year. You got, I think, Justin Haley who could make a run. Jeb Burton, I'm not sold on. even though he's got the win at Talladega. But Allmendinger, I mean, it would be a disappointment if he don't make it to Phoenix. So
I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised or taken back by his success, but colleague's having a good stretch here over the last couple months, including the Indy Road Course win and Cup. So, it's been cool to kind of see the evolution of colleague over the last 5 years, and obviously going Cup racing next year. So, I think as well as Gregson, I think Allmendinger's poised for a deep run.
Absolutely, and when you think about it too, 10 points back in the playoff points battles. If Dinger goes out and wins and maintains that first place in the standings, now he's ahead of Cindric when they reseed this thing. So.
Yeah, and every point, as we've seen over the years, matters in the playoffs. And we're seeing it right now in the Cup Series when you have Alex Bowman and Kurt Busch tied for the final spot going into Bristol. So, yeah, I would want all the playoff points that I can get.
Yeah. Speaking of colleague, like you said, we've seen them go on a tear, picking up Cup wins, Xfinity wins. Have you had a chance to do anything in depth as far as covering that team?
Yeah. This year specifically, or over the years?
Over the years, whatever.
Yeah, I've colleagues great. Like I don't know if you've reached out for him, but they're very accommodating.
Carly is great.
Yeah.
Carly is fantastic.
She is. She's very quick with her responses. She's a fun personality, and she's always sets up everything, when you want it really, or when they're available. Yep. So this year, I did a piece on Jeb Burton. This was back in February or March. It was right at the beginning of the year, about him coming over to the team and kind of the background of how it came together. It was a cool little story there. Justin Haley, just about how, so this year I focused it on, because every year for my Xfinity series columns, I love writing them and I like telling the stories and getting stories out of them that are different, unique from, just your casual, this guy's doing this year and this guy's performing this well. So for Justin Haley, it was around May. It was May. I talked to him the morning of Darlington, the Xfinity race, and just kind of how, he's running both. Really, he's run full time in both series of this year, and kind of how that set him up for the future. And then evidently, obviously, he's going full-time Cup racing next year. And then recently I did one on Allmendinger and kind of, how he's performed just about as good as he thought he would this year. This was prior to the New Hampshire race, so he's won 1 or 2 races since then. But yeah, colleagues a fun story. And I think they're going to surprise some people next year, because I tell you what, man, Justin Haley is one of the best super speedway racers in all of NASCAR over the last 2 decades. This dude is legit on super speedways.
I'm with you there. That'd be hard to argue. All right, man, we are down to 1 to go here in the regular season. Kind of out from a points bubble battle perspective, if you will. If you're looking at someone who's on the outside looking in, who's a long shot to maybe go steal one this weekend at Bristol?
If you want my real answer and boring answer, nobody.
Right.
There's a reason why the 12, I don't know, Michael Annett was on track to be in the playoffs by quite a margin. Then he had his injury. Yeah. And since coming back, it hasn't gone well, and he's 66 points out. So it's a must win for everybody.
Yeah.
I guess Annett or Ryan Sieg,
right?
But
yeah,
I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't bet on it.
No. Well, speaking of betting, we got Vegas, Talladega, and the Roval. Round 1 for the Xfinity Series. We got a 1.5 mile super speedway and the road course at Charlotte. That could set up for some interesting battles. That's 3 unique racetracks that we're going to.
It definitely could. All different tracks, obviously, and it's the same as the Cup, the second round of the Cup Series playoffs. And I like how the Cup and the Xfinity Series playoffs after this week are going to be the same, essentially, because they each have 7 races left after this week. But yeah, as far as I don't know if you want predictions, but
yeah, sure, give them to me.
I think I could see Jeremy Clements making it to the second round, and I say that because there is a road course like a makeshift road course in the Roval, and then a super speedway in the first round, and a lot can happen. He's obviously won on a road course.
Yeah.
So I could see him surprising some people, and then names that could possibly miss the second round. I know we just talked about colleague, but maybe Jeb Burton, of guys who have won this year that could miss it. And then you never know, because there are 2 wild cards. Really, there's definitely 2 wild cards if they race in a monsoon like they did last year at the Roval.
Well, between what we know, what can happen, and we've seen happen at Talladega, and based on the cluster bleep we've seen at road courses this year, you can be taken out just as easily in a road course this year as you could a super speedway race. So
yeah, and look at Cindric. Like, if he has anyone, not just him, but anyone at the top, if you have 2 bad races like he did, you're out.
You're done.
You got to, no matter the series, you got to avoid 2 bad races in a single round, unless you have a huge points buffer, and then you might be able to get 2 mulligans. But again, I wouldn't count on that. So
yeah, well, like Kyle Larson could probably have 2 bad just because the first round's so good, and maybe sneak his way into the round of 12. But once you get to the round of 12, you have 2 bad, you're done.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yep. So, and I don't know. I'm curious to see how the playoffs go with the Xfinity Series, because you do have like Jeremy Clements, who points wise, right now he's 9th in the regular season points. If he can just maintain an 8-point and a 7 and 8 point gap on Brandon Jones and Riley Herbst, he's going to get playoff or a playoff or 2 playoff points for wherever he finishes in the regular season standings. And that's just an impressive 26 races for that team, who has a handful of employees. They have a new crew chief this year with Mark Setzer. It's just been impressive, and I know they've only got 2 top 10 since May, but they've definitely overachieved with a little, the smaller budget this year.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's transition over to the Cup race Saturday night. Martin Truex Jr. going out doing what Martin Truex Jr. does at Richmond, picking up another win. Didn't dominate the whole thing, but up there in the top 10. Started up there as well. Just a consistent day for them.
He would have dominated, I think, had he not got busted on the initial start of the race for beating Denny Hamlin to the line.
Fair, yes. Yes.
So I think had that not happened, I think, which is kind of a up and down call. Like, you can't. Truex should know the rule, as Hamlin was the control car, but I don't know if the control car spins their tires.
Right.
I know obviously the rule is on the initial start, just the initial start. You can't beat the leader to the line, the control car. But if you spin your tires, I don't know. Is Truex supposed to slam on the brakes and wreck the field?
Right.
I don't.
I think, that should be a judgment call by NASCAR, I think, to be able to look to see, did both have clean starts, which obviously wasn't the case. So, yeah.
But they called it so quickly. Like, the first lap might not even have been over, and they'd already posted them. So, I don't. I don't know. That's a judgment call, obviously, but it's a tough one to bite for Truex. Obviously, it didn't hurt him because he came back and won the race.
Yep.
But in terms of dominating a race, and Truex has been dominant this year on 750 tracks. All 4 of his wins have come there. And in the playoffs set up well for him should he get out of the round of 12. Now, I picked him to win this past weekend at Richmond. I also picked him to win at Darlington. But I don't have him getting out of the round of 12 because there's the 2 wild cards that we mentioned, and I don't like the way he's ran this year on 550 races, meaning Las Vegas. So he's got to get out of the round of 12, and if he does, I think he's bound for Phoenix.
I love that. That's great. All right, man. I got to talk about Ross Chastain for a minute. Some solid runs as the season winds down, as Chip Ganassi gets ready to close up shop. Is he stacking the resume a little bit here with some decent runs?
He is. He's had 2 really good back-to-back runs. He's been the best non-playoff car so far in the playoffs, hands down. So, obviously he's got the ride with Trackhouse, so he's set there. Multi-year deal, so he's, that's the first time he's had a multi-year deal in his career. And it's not just him though, right? Like, Chip Ganassi Racing for the past 2 months or so has been really fast. And Ross hasn't put all the finishes together, maybe like Kurt has, but Yeah, he's having a good end of the year. And I think it really started with that runner-up finish at Nashville at the end of June. And since then, they've shown a ton of speed. So I don't want to say he's going to win a race by the end of the year because I don't know if a non-playoff car's ever won the race under this current format in terms of like the top 16. I'd have to go back and do some,
head. No.
Yeah, I'd have to do some digging, but yeah, I don't know if there is anyone. I think Chastain could do it because they have shown the potential to run up with the playoff guys.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, man, we are going to Bristol. The Busch brothers have put on some exciting performances there as of late. Kyle's obviously been incredibly dominant at Bristol. Both are in the bottom half of the standings. Must wins, probably not for Kyle. He'll probably be able to sneak into the next round, but they keep racing like the first two races of this playoff round. They're going to be in some trouble. Kurt could find himself in some trouble here. Preview Bristol for us. Where are you at?
I'm excited because at the beginning of the year, obviously a lot of the talk, even going into the year, was about the Bristol dirt race. And although it was a fun race, there is nothing like the Bristol concrete race. There's just nothing like Bristol in general. If I tell people, people ask me where should I go for my first race, I direct them to Bristol, Tennessee, because there's nothing like Bristol. Yeah. So that it has a cutoff race for the second straight year, I think is a great thing. Now last year we didn't, if I recall correctly, we didn't see a lot of chaos last year, but there was also a big points gap. Like Ryan Blaney had a terrible two races, same with Matt DiBenedetto. So there was really no, I guess William Byron crashed out, and I can't remember if same with Cole Custer. I think they were both on the outside looking in, though, so there's really no change. I think we're going to see a change this year because you look at the guys like William Byron, I think he's in a must-win. And who would have thought that, right? Like, yeah, he goes out, he has 11 top 10s in the first 12 races. And then since then, like, I think his average finish is like 14th. Like it's been mediocre especially compared to his teammates, sure, specifically Kyle Larson. He's in a must win. And I don't see him winning. So same with Michael McDowell. Like I think McDowell, if he hadn't beat himself the last 2 weeks, he'd be in a points battle. I think so too. However,
and I would have loved to have seen that. Like, he wouldn't have gotten out of the round of 12, I don't think, but just to not only make it to the playoffs for the first time, but to have advanced one round. Now, when we talk about, how, for example, we go back and we look at the Xfinity series and we talk about, Harrison Burton or whomever just barely maybe making it to the Final Four, and that not being a good year for that organization. We look at if Michael McDowell had made it to the round of 12. Oh yeah. I mean, that's, night and day difference as to why that's a great year for that organization,
Absolutely. Definitely different perspectives. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, had he not, and look, hindsight's always 20/20, but you look at Darlington, he's out in the first 35 laps. Yeah. And with how chaotic that race was, if he just escaped, he finished 37th, you're looking at least 20 more points. Yes. He's 38 out right now. And then this past weekend, he spent on pit road 3 times and finished 30th or something like that. Yeah. So if you get rid of those 3 penalties, even if you just got 1, like you're looking at another 5 or 6 points. So yes, you're looking at a 10-point buffer going into the playoffs. That's a lot more reasonable. He's in a must win. And I mean, I think we would both agree he's not going to win this weekend.
Tyler, we add Tyler Riddick into the equation. I think, he's in a must win. He's the only one that I would say, no, maybe not.
5 points out.
Yeah, 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, I was looking at the wrong column. Yes, he's one that's sitting down there at the bottom that I could say, man, if I had to pick a dark horse to go out and win this weekend, I just feel like that team is just so close to getting a victory lane, and I want it so bad for them. And that's what I think that would be an awesome first win is at Bristol this weekend.
Yeah, I think it'll depend on the track. Like if it widens out, whether or not he'll be in contention for the win. But certainly being 5 points out, I mean, anything can happen in Bristol. The track, it takes 15-second lap times. If there's a big accident in the middle of the backstretch, and you're in turn one, like there's 2 or 3 seconds you have to react.
Yep.
That's not a lot of time.
No.
So especially with all the moving, cars around you in your competition. So prior to the when I made out my playoff grid prior to the round, I had Reddick going to the final 8. I was high on this team going into the playoffs. They points raced a lot in the second half of the regular season. I don't know if he gets in. I think he might need help because Kurt Busch is going to run really, really well this weekend, I think.
Yep.
He's a 6-time winner at Bristol. I think Eric Almirola falls out. He's only, I think, 3 points to the good. So then you're looking at either Bowman or Reddick going in. And I would give the advantage to Reddick. So I'd say Reddick makes it. But who would have thought Hendrick has 2 cars out in the first round?
Right. Yeah, that's nuts. Especially, Bowman with 3 wins too. Like that's,
yeah,
that's,
but he showed no consistency over the summer at all.
No.
He got the win at Pocono. He won at Dover pre-summer, but it's been a lot of miss. And if you look at his career historically and statistically, like summers have not treated him well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of picking up an occasional win here or there, but yeah, that's a mystery of how they just, similar to Bayern, don't have any consistency right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. All right, man. Let's wrap with something a little different this time. Just announced a little bit ago, the 2022 Clash is going to the Los Angeles Coliseum. When we talk about the start of any NASCAR season, it's the Clash or whatever we're calling it. The week before Daytona, in Daytona, exhibition race out west before the season kicks off. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I was asked about this on Sirius last week when it kind of picked up some steam, and I think it's a great move by NASCAR. I really do, because it puts some excitement behind the Clash, which over the past few years, we've either expected it to come to be a wreck fest with a super speedway race, like last year. It was last year. Eric Jones won it and his car was destroyed.
Yeah.
The whole nose was taken off. And then they put, NASCAR takes it off, puts it on the road course. Road course delivered. I was going into when was it? Tuesday night. Yeah. Flew in there Tuesday night. I was going there thinking it was going to be like very spread out, and it was. But there was a lot of good racing. But to move it to LA a week before the Super Bowl, which, if I'm not mistaken, is in LA, you move it to the second biggest media, city in the country. I think it's a great move, and you bring it to a historic Coliseum like the LA Coliseum. I'm all for it. Now, I get it's a makeshift track; it's going to be expensive, but I'll be curious, because I don't think it's been confirmed if NASCAR is going to take the next gen cars or if they're going to take the current car, the Gen 6, which I think would be the smart move, because to my knowledge, I think only teams get 7 next gen cars at the beginning of next year. So you don't want to beat and bang and lose one right at the beginning of the year for an exhibition race.
Go break a chassis on one of these old bad boys.
Yeah, and you travel across the country, 2,000 however many miles. So yeah, that's not that wouldn't be good. So I think they do use the Gen 6 car. Although I haven't read the press release, even though it just came out. So maybe they announced it in the press release.
I just skimmed it. I don't see anything about that in there. So.
Okay. So yeah. And then we have, I don't know. What do you think about it? Because I think it is a good, smart, strategical decision by NASCAR, especially with the Super Bowl looming. And plus you make it an event. The Daytona 500 is essentially the Super Bowl of NASCAR. So it's similar, I think, to, I don't want to compare it directly to the AFC NFC championship games, but they have the Pro Bowl in between, and they have a week to build it up. That's similar to this. You have a week to build up the LA Coliseum, the Clash, to the 500. So I don't know. I think it's a good move.
So I like that they're doing something different with it, because
sure.
I think, it got stale. Honestly, I'd only watch because I needed to have content to be able to talk about it for the podcast, because I'm not an exhibition. I think we've had this conversation, whether it's, the Pro Bowl, I'm not a big all-star kind of guy, or a non points wins, whatever, I have a hard time buying into that. So I can buy into this because it's new, it's different, it's going to be something we've never seen before. So I'm all about that. So anytime we can get creative with non-points paying races, give me the creativity. Because what better way to go test and see if there's something we can bring to enhance the on-track competition without it being a cluster bleep at a, it's great testing. I'm all about that. So I'm all for it from that perspective.
Yeah, you bring up being new and different, and I think that's what we've seen a lot of recently, right? Like Bristol Dirt, you had a dirt race to the Cup Series for the first time in however many years.
Yep.
All these new road courses, we put an emphasis on that over the last few years. And the schedule coming out on Wednesday, morning and rolling out throughout the day. I mean, you're going to see a track added there with Gateway. It's, everyone's, I'm sure, heard of by now. It's the St. Louis newspaper, I think, wrote about it last night. So I like that move too. I mean, there's a lot. It's a good time to be a NASCAR fan. There's a lot of promise, and hopefully this next gen car pans out as to how it's designed to.
I'm with you. I know NASCAR's got an opportunity, and things kind of got leaked today. And we're not going to talk about it because it was from a leak perspective. But I wish it wasn't. I wish that didn't happen. And I say that because look at the hype, and even it happens in the NFL too. Like the schedule gets leaked, whatever. They make a spectacle about the schedule release in the NFL and teasing out the primetime games and all that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like NASCAR, now that they're making bigger swings with the schedule and changes, like, if they take that initiative to make a couple big changes each year, like that's something, whether it's, from a live streaming perspective, whether it's letting each track maybe do something on social media, like you could create a draw in terms of, your schedule release. And I hope that's something that NASCAR, takes a bigger look at down the road.
That's a good point, because like you said, the NFL does make a big deal out of the schedule unveiling every year. So, I'm with you. From the media standpoint, though, I mean, you got to go after the story. I feel like.
I get it. I didn't break it, so
No, but I totally get it. I get that perspective of trying to make an event out of it, because it is an event. Yeah. And I think it was last year, I think, where all of the tracks were coming out kind of separately throughout the day and announcing when their race, or Darlington has two races. Like, that's cool.
Yep.
And tracks and NASCAR could have a unique way of announcing it. But I don't know. The media side of me says go after the story.
I love it. Fair enough, man. I respect that 100%. All right, man. Listen, tell everybody where they can follow you and keep up with the stories and all that good stuff.
Of course, yeah. Go at Dustin Albino on Twitter. I pretty much live on Twitter, so you'll see me if you follow me. And yeah, go to Jayski, where I say this to everybody, but we're a one-stop shop for all things NASCAR. You got your Truck Series, your Xfinity Series, your Cup Series, and we try to be, it's quick and obviously as reliable as possible. So definitely check us out.
I love it. All right, man. Lap Traffic Nation, there you have it. Dustin Albino. Dustin, man, this was great, long overdue, and I think this was great, man.
Absolutely, man. I always enjoy it. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, we'll catch you later. Oh, great to catch up with Dustin. Like I said, long overdue. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, the laptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube Lap Traffic Podcast, and Twitter, Instagram, all at Lap Traffic PC.
You've got mail.
If you've listened to the show, make sure you go leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to. I am so behind the ball on things. I forgot to get new follower shout outs. I said last week I was going to get a giveaway out that I didn't do, but Dustin followed it up perfectly is with just it's life. Yes, life has been a little crazy. So hopefully we'll get back to a little bit more consistent routine here, and we'll get a giveaway out here over the next couple weeks, I promise. But stickers and koozies are ready to go. If you want a Lap Traffic Podcast koozie and some stickers, just fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will get those out to you for free. All right, let's keep things rolling. Let's get Aaron Studwell on the line. All right, Let Traffic Nation joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at RaceWeather, along with Brian Newdorf at NASCAR_WXMAN. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Aaron Studwell. Sir, good evening. Go Blue.
Go Blue. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good when Michigan wins 2 in a row and, ranked 25th, but that's all right. Sir, what were your takeaways from the game Saturday night?
I might be in the minority on this one. I do like the blue pants with the blue jersey.
Oh, I thought it was fantastic, especially with the maze out in the stadium. Oh, I thought it was great.
I know some people who didn't like it. I'm like, personally, I'm a big fan of that look.
Yeah, no,
it's a great night game look.
Yes, it was great.
I'm really impressed, and somebody else actually made this point to me, and I'll take it and run with it. Boy, you can tell the difference between having Don Brown as the defensive coordinator and this new guy. And yes. I should know the new guy's name. They're playing with passion. They're playing with energy. They're playing to the whistle and beyond. And they're just playing tough. We looked good on offense. Running game is impressive, and I'm not sure if that's a function of maybe Washington was overrated coming in, and you say, okay, they lose to Montana and then lose to Michigan, and we got some easier matchups coming up. I'm not going to discount them, but they should be fairly straightforward games, and I'll own it. I was wrong about the Washington game.
Hey, that's all right. And anytime you're wrong and we get a W, we'll be okay with it.
I'm good with that. Yes.
So my take, I loved the packed big house. It looked great. It was beautiful. Like you said, our running game is great. Defense is good. I wonder, though, if Harbaugh really trusts our quarterback with only 47 passing yards and I think just a handful of attempts throughout that whole game.
I'll play the other side of that. If you don't need to pass a lot, I don't think you have to pass a lot. If we're saying we're going to line up and we're going to run at you, you can't stop it. I have no problem running at them and saying you can't stop it, because when you throw a pass, two of the three things that are possible to come out of it aren't good.
Dropped,
incomplete,
turnover.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Incomplete or intercepted.
Yep. Fair enough. Well, and like you said, they got a couple easy, I wonder if it is a true, like, hey, he actually has the ability to not show everything on the table. 2 weeks in, like maybe he does have the ability to hold back until we get to the Wisconsins, the Penn States, and the Ohio States. That would be nice if that's actually what's going on there.
Yeah, I want to go sideways a little bit on you here with the Ohio State-Oregon game. Did you watch that?
I did not, but my phone blew up with about 5 minutes to go in that game. So, yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first 3 quarters, and I will say Ohio State looks slow. Not slower. They don't look as good on the edge as they have in past years.
Yeah,
which has always been a Michigan flaw.
Sure. I mean, hey, hopefully they still have that flaw in 9 more weeks or 11.
I agree.
10 more weeks.
Yeah. Then Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yes.
It's like 1 month before your really favorite holiday.
Right. You know it, man.
I do know it.
What'd you think of the racing this past weekend?
Other than Landon being kind of having electrical problems.
Well,
I thought it. Yeah. I'm going to. So was Joe Gibbs Racing just sandbagging it?
Man, I'm telling you, they look good. They looked good.
And Gregson looked good too. I mean, I don't know what switch flipped on with him.
It's crazy. Every once in a while, somebody just gets that Tony Stewart in them, and we're going to go kick ass late in the summer and go on a tear. So.
But that's a phenomenal analogy too. That is the best. Yeah, because that's exactly. It's like, okay, it's August. Yeah. Here comes smoke.
Yeah. So I love it. All right, man. We are headed to the Last Great Coliseum, where we got some Bristol night racing Thursday, Friday, Saturday night this week. How are we looking?
We're looking okay. I would say Friday and Saturday better than Thursday, and I have had a couple questions. This will not be the remnants of what is Nicholas now will not impact the race. It's actually going to stay more to the southeast. Thursday, I have mostly cloudy skies, chance of showers, and that's going to last into the evening hours. High of 80, race time temperature near 70. So Thursday is probably the day we're going to have the biggest risk for a delay, but it's also a 9:13 start, which is late. For Friday, the Xfinity race, variably cloudy skies, PM showers and thunderstorms. These are going to be really these afternoon, evening showers and thunderstorms that we get in that region. Just general instability. The rain chances are really going to drop off after sunset. So it may be, if a rain shower hits, do we have to worry about drying? Then it dries pretty quick. Same for Saturday, except mostly cloudy skies. Again, PM showers and thunderstorms chance. And again, both days, race day temps near in the mid-70s. So I think it's better, and I'll throw this one out there, it's better than your app is showing you right now.
Excellent. And as Neudorf is famously known for saying, don't app at me. So
yes.
Excellent. I love it. How, if not to put you on the spot, but how is the weather for the Michigan NIU game looking on Saturday?
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot.
I am going to put you on the spot. That's all right. I can hold us on that. Like you mentioned earlier,
I'm scrolling up to.
We do have a couple, if you will, what would we call old school cupcake games, NIU, Rutgers, and then we get into some real Big Ten with Wisconsin, Nebraska, Northwestern, MSU. I mean, our big challenges are going to be last 3 weeks with Penn State, Maryland, who looked pretty good, and Ohio State. So,
and like I've said before, I will be at the Maryland game.
Yes. So, the big question is Wisconsin. They took an early season loss week 1 against Penn State. That was a tough open, I think, for Wisconsin. You typically aren't seeing Wisconsin, Penn State week 1, in the Big Ten. So is one better than the other? Is there some overconfidence on one side or the other? And then Wisconsin played EMU this week, so we didn't see anything. But this week they play Notre Dame, which we know the shit show that's been, but we'll at least see a little bit more of what Wisconsin really is, I think, this week against Notre Dame.
I want to see what Notre Dame really is after they kind of squeaked it out past Toledo.
Right. Yes. So we'll all good reasons to watch college football.
Well, I can't ever think of a good reason to not. Well, maybe weddings and that.
Well,
but
yes.
Okay, so Michigan, Ann Arbor, Saturday noon kickoff. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just asking. Wasn't sure the kickoff time.
Yes.
High of 84. Slight chance of afternoon showers. I wouldn't count on them. The winds will shift to the north during the second half, and get kind of blustery. So that is the north end zone you're going to be heading into up towards campus. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Alrighty, sir. Well, great to catch up with you. Everybody make sure you follow Aaron on Twitter at RaceWeather, along with Brian Neudorf at NASCAR_WXMAN. Sir, great to talk with you, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks. You will. Have a great evening, and take care. Thanks. We'll catch you soon. Later. See ya. All right, let's get to this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down picks. You guys know the drill. After race weekend, you can tweet your Lucky Dog Lap Down picks. I'll read them, tag you guys after the show. My Lucky Dogs for this weekend: Michigan football and Ross Chastain. Lap down Detroit Lions football. You know it. All right, let's get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner's Lucky Dog at Joe Gibbs Racing Cars have become competitive in the first round. Lap down Michael McDowell. If it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have no luck right now. I love it. Brian at Stormin B81 Lucky Dog. I'm going with Chase Elliott. Had his issues, fought hard to get the lap back, and went for a top finish. Lap down McDowell. Yes, he was a long shot, but 3 speeding penalties on pit road won't help at all. 100%. You heard Dustin and I talk about that a little bit ago. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragon, Lucky Dog. Martin Truex Jr. continues to dominate the short track. And a shout out to the 42. Ross Chastain is showing that he's for real. Yes, sir. Lap down, Kurt Busch has to really work hard to get through the next round. Hey, we've seen him win at Bristol before. Who knows? I'd love to see Kurt Busch keep going. Colin at Colin_with_cars. Lucky Dog going to JGR for starting the playoff strong. A lap down going to myself for missing the race to go to the Indians game just to see them get a no-hit by the Brewers. Ouch. That's brutal. Matt at Camper News Net, Lucky Dog, Martin Truex clinching a spot in the round of 12 with the win at Richmond. Additional Lucky Dog to NASCAR for how they remember the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and all the fans standing and crews on pit road before Xfinity and Cup races. No lap down this week. Matt, 100% great call. I loved every single thing about that. Had goosebumps. I loved it. Chris at USMC_NASCAR Fire. Lucky Dog Truex. Glad to see someone who does so much for so many wins. Lap down. This package at this track got bored and started doing things outside. Not cool. I hear you. And Tristan at Tristan Cole. Lucky Dog. Richmond. Noah Gregson. Junior Motorsports. Truex. JGR. Kyle Larson. All cars that survived. Tommy Joe Martins. Lapped down. Kurt Busch. William Byron. Tommy Joe Martins. I love it. All right, guys, that's the Lucky Dog lap down picks. Let's close this thing out with a little lap traffic fantasy. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, let's close this thing out with a little Lap Traffic Fantasy. Just a reminder to get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. We got 8 race weekends to go to settle the score. I can't wait to see who wins the championship this year because it's been heated. We've got position switching, all that good stuff. Right now, joining me on the line, he's one of the 2 guys that had week high this past week. You can follow him on Twitter at Bradley Carnes. It's Brad Carnes. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome, man. I'm kind of accepting reality in that I just need to be happy that I made the playoffs for the first time in my own league and knowing that I'm not going further in the playoffs. So I'm
it's not looking too good for you.
It's not looking good. Just an atrocious week 1, but that's okay. Baby steps. We made the playoffs. Next year we can actually focus on doing something in the playoffs. So, but man, you had a great week. Ty Gibbs, Martin Truex Jr. for 98 points plus 2 bonus points that'll carry over for you here when we reset the points after this week at Bristol. Nice job there. But what'd you think of the racing this weekend at Richmond?
I thought it was terrible, just like every other Richmond race. The Xfinity cars put on a hell of a show, and the Cup cars get out there, and it's a snooze fest.
Yeah, you know, I've seen it thrown around a lot that the Xfinity Series is the series to watch this year. You know, it's in years past. It's, hey, you want to have some fun on a Friday night, throw on the truck race. You know, and then watch Cup. And this year, the level of competition in the Xfinity Series, the on-track racing product for the Xfinity Series has just been absolutely incredible. And, hey, go figure. Give them more horsepower, the racing tends to be a little better. Isn't that crazy how that works out?
Doesn't even matter what track they go to. They put on a hell of a show everywhere.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there 100%. All right, let's recap the standings here. In first place with 288 points is Henry Fletcher. Brad, you are currently in second with 267. Charles LaPearl in third with 253. Josh Neal in fourth with 252. Chad Robin fifth with 249. Steven, DFS NASCAR guy, and Glenn Atkins are in sixth with 248. Jeff Bevan in seventh with 247. John Etwinsel in eighth with 245. Jess Rose in ninth with 244. John King in 10th with 241. Fred Leclerc in 11th with 228. Stephanie in 12th with 201. Matt Camper in 13th, 185. Michael from the Blind Spot Podcast in 14th with 183. And yours truly, the Professor, in last place with 145. Man, to pick up 4 spots, I need people to forget to send their picks in. That is the only chance I think I have of making it to the next round. So there's that. But all right, man.
You got to be optimistic.
Right. Yes. Always got to look for the positive.
Somebody's pick is going to wreck this week. It's Bristol.
Right. All right, man. What do you say? You ready to make some picks?
Yes, sir.
All right, Lap Traffic Fantasy players, we're headed to Bristol, baby, for the last race of round one. I think I've said this a lot lately. We do not have an active Chevy winner. Kevin Harvick is the last Chevy winner, and he drives for Ford, obviously. And Harvick is our most recent winner at Bristol, picking up this win last year in the playoffs. And who would have thought that was his last win, both of last year and of this year? He has not won since Bristol last year. We've seen some great battles as of late with the Busch brothers at Bristol, who both need some help right now in the playoffs. Can Chevy put one in the win column at the last great Coliseum? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it's time for our picks. Truck race Thursday night. Brad, who do you got?
Oh, this one was hard, but I'm going to stick with who's hot. I'm going to go with Creed.
Creed, solid pick. I'm not getting crazy outside the box on this one. I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek. Over to the Xfinity Series. Who do you got for Friday nights?
Let's go with old Justin Allgaier.
Justin Allgaier. I like that one. I am going to go with, and see, this burned me on week one because I went with a guy that I hadn't picked all year. And I think I'm doing that again with this pick, but we need some luck. I'm going to go with Daniel Hamrick on Saturday night, or Friday night for the Xfinity Series.
He's eventually got to win, right?
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I keep saying about myself in the fantasy league. So, all right, Saturday night, who do you got?
We're going to go with Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, I love it. I mean, why not? He's the most winningest driver there that's active right now, so I love it.
Just trying to play it safe.
Yes, I mean, you're in a good spot to have that mindset. I love it. I'm either out this week or I'm not, so let's go with for the win one last time, see if we can get something going there. So Kevin Harvick for me Saturday night.
I hope your pick's right.
So I'd be A-okay if my pick was right.
Yeah, if he never wins another race, though, his last two wins were the Bristol night race and the Southern 500. So.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, man, best of luck. Maybe we'll talk to you one more time or two before this thing's over.
We plan on it.
All right, man. We'll catch you soon. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 257 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Twitter, @LapTrafficPC. Huge thanks to Dustin Albino, Aaron Studwell, and Brad Carnes for calling in. Sorry to break the news to you. Couple of best of shows for the next 2 weeks, but I will be back strong for episode 260. I promise you that. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!